So in today's video, we are going to be talking about the best Playstyle Plus upgrades coming to FC25. So between now and the 6th of October, I'm going to be uploading a daily free eafc25 trading guide. This will include everything to do on the web app to make as many coins as possible with both trading and investing. I'll be talking about the full release, what we expect to see regarding the market, and there'll also be a daily updated investing guide, all in there, updated every day for free. No gimmicks whatsoever, all you gotta do is click on the Google Docs link on the top link of the description. So in today's video, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be talking about the players who've had the best Playstyle Plus upgrades between FC24 and FC25, making them new, interesting players that I guess either you might want to put into your teams, or maybe you want to stay away from because it's going to make them a bit more expensive. Now, before we do jump into this topic, we're using a new site for these database. Now, this database is the exact same one I've been using all the way up until now, but it's put into a much nicer format. And the site I'm using is called eafc. There you go, you can see at the top. Now, there's actually a nice feature on eafc where you can actually go and build a squad with all these new players. For example, if I wanted to go and put like Rashford out wide, I could go and put Rashford here. So basically, this is our first, I guess, squad builder we have of FC25. So what I'm asking for you guys is for you guys to go and build your teams, or the teams that you're interested in making at the beginning. Then what you can go and do is you can go and share them. So if you go and press on share, you go and share them, get the link, and then if you go and paste this link into today's YouTube video, what I'll be doing for tomorrow's YouTube video is I'll be going through your guys' starter teams, I guess having a little look at an interesting look at what you guys are deciding to use. But then what I'll also do is I'll give you guys an educated opinion on how much I think it'll be in the first week, the second week, the first weekend league. Just so you guys, I guess, are not selling yourself a bit short and using a worse team than you potentially could get away with using. And likewise, you guys don't think there's some hidden gem, but in reality they're going to come out at like 70, 80k. So again, head over to Easy SBC, then go to Squad Builder. This isn't an ad, it does sound like a bit like an ad. You're going to go to Easy SBC, then go to Squad Builder, build the squad, then press share, and then I say just drop this link in the YouTube video from today, and that's how I go through every single team in tomorrow's video. So there you go, just set myself up for a video tomorrow. So we are going to be going through the biggest Playstyle Plus upgrades. Now, what do I deem as a Playstyle Plus upgrade? I deem a Playstyle Plus upgrade is the new playstyle is better than the previous playstyle. I'm also in today's video just me going through basically the 4 most popular playstyles. I'm sure there's players who've gone from having no playstyle to having Deadball Plus playstyle plus, which you might as well not have a playstyle plus. So I'm just going through the best ones. And again, all this data has come out on the, I guess, the leaked database, but the leaked database has been backed up by every single leak EA's done so far, so we can go off the presumption that it is real. We are going to be comparing again this year's cards to last year's cards, and say giving you guys a value. So the players, we are going to be starting off with Rapid, because I do think that Rapid is probably one of the most interesting playstyles. A pace-related playstyle in FIFA being one of the most demanded. You can't even act shocked. So Sabio had Rapid last year, Jairzinho had Rapid last year, Thierry Henry had Rapid last year, and the first player that we are going to be starting off with is going to be Gareth Bale. Now, of course, there was no card for me to look through from last year on Gareth Bale, but yeah, got himself Rapid Plus. Now, I'll be honest with you, and you may not like this, I have Bale as the most expensive new card coming to next FIFA. I think he's going to be more expensive than any hero, more expensive than, any new hero, more expensive than any new icon. And even though he's 88 rated, because I think his card is so interesting, I generally think he's going to come out around about 3 million coins. Now, 3 million coins might sound insane, but actually the cheapest icon we had last year with Rapid, I think was still like 2 million with Kaká. Like, you just weren't getting cheap icons with the Rapid Playstyle Plus. But then to add to that he's a new icon, add to that he's a Real Madrid icon, he's obviously a bit of a Prem icon, so he's got all this sort of stuff behind him. I just don't think he's coming out as cheap. So yeah, first player, which has, I guess, had a Playstyle Plus increase, because of course I guess he's new, is Bale, and yeah, I think he's going to be coming in at 3 million coins. Alright, the next player we are going to be covering is going to be DeMarcus Beasley. Now, this is quite interesting because obviously Beasley's had a card, and he's done this quite a lot. I've done a lot of research now into Playstyle Pluses, and a lot of the 85 rated heroes who didn't previously have a playstyle have now got a Playstyle Plus. In fact, actually, a lot of really low rated players, which EA weren't giving Playstyle Pluses to last year, they've given them. We've seen a lot more 80 to 85 rated players this year getting Playstyle Pluses. Now, what does this mean? This means that maybe Playstyle Pluses just aren't as valuable. Maybe they're not going to add as much value if everyone's got one, whereas if only a few have them, obviously they'll be a bit rarer. So Beasley actually was quite hard to remember this, but Beasley last year was 130k for the first 2 weeks of last FIFA. Now, of course, you know, he's coming in last year with this card. Obviously, a 91 pace left back is nice, but I think a 91 pace left back with rapid. Rapid is an amazing chem style, obviously, to have on wingers and to have on fullbacks. I think he goes from about 130 to about 180/200k for the first 2 weeks. Again, I think this card becomes very, very expensive because I think rapid is a highly desirable playstyle to go and have on fullbacks. So there's Beasley. The next player we have is Alawari, again another 85 rated player. This guy had no playstyle plus last year, and it's kind of crazy because this guy obviously is only an 85 rated player, but last year held 600k for the first 2 weeks. Now the playstyle, rapid playstyle plus, I'd say is probably up to about 700 to 750, because of course, you know, playstyles at the beginning are a lot scarcer towards later in the year. This is why he'll actually drop off quite heavily after about 2 or 3 promos, because 2 or 3 promos time they'll start giving players with one playstyle plus, but at the beginning he'll obviously be quite you know, original. But there you go, there's no playstyle on Alawari last year, and he's got himself a rapid this year. Next player we head on to, I think, is one of the most interesting cards going into FC25, and that is Nico Williams. Nico Williams on last year's card received a +6 rating, a +2 shooting, a +1 passing, a +3 dribbling, and a +5 physical. Now, I actually did a previous price prediction on this guy's card, and I said he'd only be about 50k. The reason for that is because that's how much Rafinha was last year, and he has a almost identical card to Rafinha's card last year. But because he's got that rapid playstyle plus, I generally think instead of him being about 50k, I think he's about 100. I think he's about 80 to 100k. Now, I do think he could drop off quite rapidly after the first 2 weeks because, of course, you know, he's only an 85 rated player in the end of the day, and these slightly lower rated golds don't hold their value that well. But yeah, for the first week, I think he's 80 to 100. I think he's an extremely hyped up player. There's chances he's even over 100 because of the amount of hype he is. You know, in previous years he hasn't really been usable, and this year he's arguably one of the most desirable left wing gold cards, boasting 4-star skills and 5-star weak foot. But yeah, Nico Williams, I think, has received one of the best playstyle plus upgrades out of everyone. Again, there's his card last year, so you can see he goes from basically not being usable to probably one of the best in his position. Next player we move on to is Lumberg, and Lumberg is another prime example of a low-rated hero that last year didn't have a playstyle. This year has a playstyle plus of rapid. We move on to Lumberg, again 100k for the first 2 weeks. I don't think it increases his price too much because, you know, what use is rapid if you've only got 87 pace. So I'd say maybe goes from 100 to 120/130 for the first 2 weeks. Another interesting card to go and cover is going to be Kingsley Coman. Now, Kingsley Coman did receive a -1 rating and a -1 shooting, but that's it. He did receive himself rapid. So last year he was 50k for the first 2 weeks. I think he could be the same this year. Obviously, with him dropping ratings, in theory he should be easy to pack, but with 5-star skills and a rapid playstyle and the most popular nation and one of the most popular clubs in the game, I definitely don't think he's going to be cheap. So yeah, I'd say about 50, maybe he gets up to 60-70 because of the rapid playstyle. But yeah, that's about that. We now move on to Pajor. Now, Pajor's quite an interesting one because actually you look at her card last year and you think, do you know what? For the first week or two, 85 pace, 89 shooting, 89 dribbling is pretty decent. The thing that really lets her down was the club. You know, Wolfsburg, people just weren't building German Bundesliga. People were building women's teams in the La Liga, they're building them in the Prem, they're building them in the Liga, but they weren't building them in the Bundesliga. So I think that really let her down, along with her only having 3-star, 3-star. Well, this FIFA, she's moved to Barcelona. I'd say maybe second to Lille, but maybe it is the most demanded. But yeah, she's moved to Barcelona, and last year again she was only 10k. She was literally fodder off the bat. Well, this year she's got playstyle, she's got rapid playstyle plus. She's now moved to Barcelona. She's got -1 shooting, +1 physical, and +3 pace. So definitely a more desirable card on both face stats and on the in terms of links. So yeah, I think she goes from about 10k in the first week. And again, it's subjective on, you know, women going to be the meta as much. I think she's about 30k at the beginning of next FIFA. So again, despite there not being that big of a change to the card, I do think the club change and the playstyle plus should move her from being, you know, SBC fodder from the bat to I'd say about 25 to 30k, but then she will slowly drop to SBC fodder. We move to the final player, which I think is pretty interesting. That is Jeremy Doku. This is what I was talking about, them giving lower rated players playstyle pluses. I think in the first year, maybe they're trying to cherish playstyle pluses a bit more. Maybe this year their selling point is going to be these player roles. But yeah, 80 rated players getting playstyle pluses is very rare. Well, let's go through the card compared to last year. He's got himself a +3 rating. He's obviously received the rapid playstyle plus. He's got +1 pace, +5 shooting, +5 passing, +4 dribbling, +3 physical, And yeah, really nice card. Now, sadly, last year he actually wasn't in packs for the first week, because in the first week he obviously got himself that team in week 1. So we don't really know what his value would have been off the release of the game. But I'd say next year, I'd say he's going to be probably about 15 to 20k. The reason I say he's about 15 to 20k, that was the price of Gakpo and a few of the other sort of Premier League forwards that weren't fitting those early Evos. So yeah, I think 15, 20k, in the end of the day, he's an 80 rated player. These guys do not hold their values whatsoever. So he's probably about 15 to 20k until the Ultimate Edition, then probably goes down to sub 10k, and then 5k probably the following week, and then after that probably 2k, because again, very rare for 80 rated players to hold their value. You look at stuff like Renato Sanchez from last year, you look at stuff like, again, Gakpo, they just weren't holding their value whatsoever. So that is the first playstyle we've gone and covered. Rapid, I do think, is probably one of the most desirable ones. The next one we're going to go and cover is going to be, just deciding which one we go with. We're going to go with Anticipate. No, we're not. We're going to go with Finesse, are we? No, we want to go, I've got Finesse set up. We're going to go with Anticipate, because I think it's got one of the more interesting cards. And that is Saliba. Now, obviously, Saliba's received quite a nice upgrade, but we actually kind of had Saliba last year. What do I mean by this? Well, last year we had Varane. Varane basically has the exact same card with Anticipate Plus. But Saliba's received a nice upgrade on last year. He's got +1 passing, +3 defending, +1 physical, and he's gone from having no playstyle plus to having the most desirable defender playstyle plus in the game. Now, Varane last year held 110k for the first 2 weeks, and I think Saliba will do that, if not better. I think he goes probably about 120 to 150. At the end of the day, Virgil van Dijk was only, I think, 300k from the beginning of the game, so I don't think he's going to go and beat Van Dijk, who's just been such a legendary defender in FIFA for the last 5 years, whereas obviously Saliba's promo card has been quite demanded, but his gold card wasn't as much of a staple in teams. And the reason for that is defenders just cap out at a much lower price than forwards, because buying defenders is boring, but whereas buying obviously attackers is interesting. It's only really the endgame defenders that, have those really, really high prices. So yeah, Saliba, lovely upgrade, about 120 to 150. We now move on to a new hero, which is Laura Georges. Now, the problem I have with this card is we don't know her old positions. Ideally, left back or right back would be nice, but again, that's paired up with 66 passing, which would be rough. But she's a 5'8" centre back. Really only comparable to someone like Cordoba, but then Cordoba's got Ariel, which counts as him being a dwarf. So, yeah, I mean, Cordoba came out the bat at about 500k last year. Obviously, Georges is a new icon, new hero, so I do think she can be about 150 to 200, but depending on how much you're going to get hounded having a 5'8" centre-back, depends on how much she drops. And sadly, again, due to that low passing and dribbling, she can't really play as a fullback, she can't really play as a CDM, because, a CDM with 66 passing can't be worth too much. So, yeah, brand new hero there with Georges. So, that is Anticipate. We're now going to move on to what was the most meta playstyle plus at the end of the game last year, and that is Ariel. So let's go and start off with Hullet. Now, I'll be honest with you, Hullet, I can't really tell you how much of his price comes down to the playstyle plus. So he's gone from power header to Ariel, definitely a more desirable playstyle plus, but in the end of the day, Hullet's a 4 million coin card. How much of him being 4 million coins was him only having a power header and Ariel? If Ariel is as OP this year as it is next year, which I don't think it is, because we've already seen EA's nerfed a few stats to make defenders better at jumping, and yeah, I don't think they've nerfed the forwards, but I think they've buffed the defenders a bit more. I mean, if Ariel does make a big deal, maybe goes from 4 million to 4.5 million, but I can't see that playstyle plus really having anything more than plus 10-20% value on his card. I think, Hullet's just as expensive as he is because of his rarity and his presence. That is his card last year. So the next card we're going to move on to is going to be Fernando Morientes. Now, the interesting thing is EA's actually replaced a lot of players with power header with Ariel. So maybe they thought, well, power header is a useless playstyle, but Ariel's really popular, so we'll do that. And Morientes is the second player who's had power header move to Ariel. Yeah, last year he was, if I can go and find it, Morientes was 200k for the first 2 weeks. I think depending on how OP Ariel is, because Morientes is standout wise, he's the best sort of cheap forward if Ariel is good. If Ariel is meta, he's like 300 to 500. We're talking, lengthy meta, finesse shot meta, that sort of crazy hype at the beginning of the game. If you don't have that, again, he was 200k for the first 2 weeks last year. I think he's probably 200 to 250. I do think, again, he's one of your only options when it comes to forwards with Ariel. Yeah, so I think he can add a little bit more value. And there you go, as you can see, power header moved there to Ariel. The next card we're going to go and cover is Sasic, quite a similar card to Morientes, but way less desirable links. You know, you got Spanish La Liga links, and now you're lowering it down to German Bundesliga women links, which when we were talking about Pajot earlier, you know, wasn't very demanded. Quite comparable to someone like Mario Gomez. Mario Gomez was coming out about 100k, so I think she can probably be about 100 to 120. But yeah, not a very desirable card, but new card, Ariel Plus. You know, these heroes do seem to hold a bit of value. And that is the last Ariel card. We're now going to move on to the last Kemsal upgrade, and that is Finesse Plus. So obviously this was the meta at the beginning of the game last year. So let's go through the players. So we start off with Kerr. Now Kerr previously had Power Header. So I don't know if they've just abolished anyone who had Power Header and given them useful playstyles. But yeah, she's gone from Power Header to Finesse, which is such an upgrade in terms of demand. Now Kerr at the beginning of the game was 300k and dropped to 180k in 2 weeks. Now, obviously it's going to be subjective to, are women going to be the meta? Obviously women were the meta last year because a lot of the agility, the tactical dribbling around the box was super meta at the beginning of the game. But obviously going from Power Header to Finesse Shot, if this was last year, that probably adds about 100-150k in value. Moving into next FIFA, obviously it's subjective on the meta. I would probably say instead of her being 300k and dropping down to 180, I'd say maybe she's 320, 350, and then drops down to about 220, 250. But yeah, the problem with the women's cards is that you kind of peak in terms of how meta they can get. You know, you've got Kerr. I mean, if we look at like the WSA, you've got Kerr, and then you've got like Ritten. You do have Lauren James. You know, but then you're not really going to go from that far from that. And then they also they don't put that many women cards in promos, so yeah, you're kind of like limited. Really nice upgrade here is Lautaro Martinez. Lautaro Martinez went from having no playstyle plus to now having a finesse playstyle plus. He got +2 pace, +2 shooting, +4 passing, +2 dribbling. The interesting thing with Martinez last year is he was fodder straight away. Like he came out of the game and he was 9k. I think this is mainly down to the pace. You know, like who really wants to use an 82 pace striker? Well, the nice thing I will say is even if he is fodder from the game, from the bat, he isn't going to be 10k. He's actually going to be 25k. Looking at last year. Last year, if you look at someone like Casemiro, 25k doesn't really drop below that. So I'd say that's the nice thing, I guess, working in the favour of Martinez being expensive, is that he's 25k. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think he's much more than that. I think maybe he's 30, 35 and drops to fodder in a week or two. But what I'd say, and what I'd recommend, I think Martinez, if you're happy to use cards like this, is going to be a really, really nice card. Because he's a good card, but he's also fodder. So it's like, he's a good card, but he won't drop. In terms of, in comparison to, let's say you use a 100k striker and they can drop every time the market crashes. With Matey's SBC fodder, you know, it limits what he can drop, and he's a good, you know, he's a good card that, you know, I'm not going to lie though, he's 82 pace isn't that nice to look at, but 88 shooting along with finesse plus and dribbling's pretty decent. Also his links are just a bit rubbish, you know, like his links peak at Barella, I think an upgraded Dumfries and Bastoni, all of which are, you know, not the most top tier cards in the world. So it basically just doesn't allow him being 100k. It's not like Rafael Leao where he's got that Theo Hernandez link and Mike Mianganong and Tamori and so on and so on. So yeah, there's Martinez. Nice little upgrade on last year. And is that, yeah, so we just got a few honourable mentions. Harry Kane has gone from ping pass to having finesse. Nothing too interesting there. And then we actually moved to Solskjaer. This is quite an interesting one. Solskjaer again is another one of these heroes who last year had no playstyle plus and this year has been upgraded to having a playstyle plus. Last year Solskjaer came out at about 70-80k. This year I think it'll be either just under 100 or just over 100. Again, the finesse shot on finesse playstyle plus on a Premier League hero should add some nice value. And I think that is all she wrote. I say if there's any playstyle pluses I missed out and you'd like me to go and cover in a future video, do feel free to drop them down below. Again, the database I've used is Easy SBC. If you guys want to go and build a team on here, I'll link it. We will be covering all of them in tomorrow's video with me valuing them. But thank you very much for watching the video, and I shall see you guys tomorrow.